evening and welcome back to Lisa Loves. It's one of my rare videos and as you know I am trying to keep up with my one video a month for what I've watched in the month. I haven't done what I watched in August, so I'm going to do that for you now. Right, before I start, Letterboxd, which is the program I use, this is going to do it again. Come on, you always give me two. Thank you. The one I use, I'm having problems with tonight. It's not loading properly, so if I swear during this, you'll know why. So, on the 2nd of August, I watched a movie called Otherhood. Otherhood was a movie about a group of women of a certain age whose children have grown up and have all gone off to do their own thing. But they all have sons. They've gone to uni, they've sort of gone on to their respective lives to live their lives, and the mums aren't seeing their sons quite as often as they would like, so they decide to get together and go and pay their sons a visit, surprise them, and it's very much one for the ladies. Ladies of a certain age. I'm probably slightly young for the market this is going for, maybe not because I'm old, but it's sort of at the market of ladies whose kids are of a certain age and have moved on. So, and they're sort of reclaiming a bit of time for themselves. So on the 3rd, I watched the Angry Birds movie 2. That was obviously my son. We went to the cinema. It was perfectly fine, entertaining, similar to the first one. You know, it's an enjoyable enough watch, but would I have gone to the cinema to see it if it wasn't for my 8-year-old son? No. On the 4th, I watched Boulevard. Now, this is one I have had to watch for a long time and just have never got round to it. It's actually Robin Williams' last movie before he passed. This one wasn't actually released until after he died. It's a very good movie. I've given it 3 out of 5 stars here, which is maybe actually a bit under what it should get. The acting is amazing. He's a middle-aged man, seems to have it all, but he's stuck in that sort of life where he's worked the same job, same boring job, being overlooked for promotions for many years. He seems to have a happy but very settled relationship with his wife, and he seems like something is missing in his life. And this movie follows what it actually is about his life. He's not being entirely honest with anyone or himself, and in this movie he makes a change and sort of opens up the truth about himself and sort of explores that. It is a very good movie, quite serious. If you do read like a synopsis as to what it's about, it will probably tell you what that thing is that he is not entirely being honest with. But I would recommend it if you like Robin Williams in serious roles, which I personally love. Like 1 Hour Photo is just an example. Sorry, this may ping. My husband and son are at Gaelic practice and people are just constantly pinging. So that is... I'm going to have to check this bloody thing, make sure. Right, it's another person not making training tonight, probably because my husband's the main coach tonight and he's a lot stricter than the others. Right, on the 5th I watched Hector. This is a British movie. I really enjoyed this one. It's very gritty. I wouldn't watch it unless you like watching British dramas. It's about a guy who has lived on the streets for many, many years, for a couple of decades. Stuff happened in his life and he said, right, this is it. I'm going to go and live on my own on the street. And it follows his story. It follows life on the streets, people he meets. He takes a trip every year to London to spend a few days in a hostel where all the people sort of get together that are homeless and have their dinner and a little bit of entertainment and stuff. It's a character play, really. It's, if you like good acting and gritty British drama, I would check it out. I personally really enjoyed that. On the 6th, I watched, this is on Netflix at the moment, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. I'm going through a bit of a stage, I think I said before, where anything that's like true to life, I'm like, I want to see this. Bob Lazar is very famous in UFO circles. He very famously has divulged a lot of what's going on behind the scenes, if you believe in that sort of thing. The more I watch about it, the more convinced I am that there's something going on there. So yeah, if you're interested in the subject, I thoroughly recommend this documentary. If not, then probably best avoid. You've probably seen similar things elsewhere. On the 10th, I finally saw Brightburn. I missed this at the cinema. I was gutted. It was getting nothing but rave reviews everywhere. My buddy Movie Massacre ranted and raved about this one, loved it. And having watched it, I can see why. I love the real dark style of it. I love the sort of like other side of things we come from. Anyone that doesn't know, I'm sure everyone that's watching my video will know what Brightburn is. It is a sort of like a dark side of the whole Superman tale of how he come to Earth and what if he wasn't actually good, what if he was bad. Fantastic acting, really well done, good effects. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Same night I watched Plus One. I forgot and I've pressed into that and I shouldn't. This is very predictable, but sometimes I like to watch a very easy, predictable romantic comedy, so shoot me. Plus One is about two friends that are fed up. Everyone's pairing off in their lives, getting married, having kids. He hasn't met Miss Right, she hasn't met Mr. Right, so they've all these weddings coming up over the summer. They're like, oh God, they hate weddings. I personally love weddings, always have. They decide to be each other's plus one for all the weddings they attend to make it a little more bearable. It's not really a big surprise what happens there. I'm sure you can guess, but it's an entertaining enough little romantic comedy. I enjoyed it. On the 11th, I rewatched one of my all-time favourite movies, Poltergeist, because my son wanted to see it, and he watched it, and he really enjoyed it, so yay. That's the original, by the way, the 1982 version. On the 12th, The Curse of La Llorona. The least... Why on earth have I got 1.5 stars on there? No. That I've been too kind there. I'm not going to go... Right, I'm going to go in and change it because... Can I? No. No! No errors! No, I can't change it. Oh, this was so bad. The jump scares were terrible. The actual La Llorona herself just looked ridiculous. It looked like they were trying to cash in on the whole nun thing. But the nun was bad. I didn't like it, but this was terrible. Terrible. Everyone said it was. I had the warnings. Strange Monkey said, Lisa, don't watch this. Don't put yourself through it. I did anyway. Oh, it was terrible. So yeah. On the same day, Long Shot. This, I was thinking, I need some cheering up now. That's depressed me. This is a comedy with, what's his name with the curly, is it Seth Rogen? I can't keep going into this because it won't, it's playing silly buggers with me. This guy and girl many years ago knew one another. She babysitted for him. Charlize Theron, I think it is. She grows up, or is it? I can't remember. She grows up, she becomes a big shot in Hollywood politics. He's a writer, not really going anywhere in life, a bit of a mess. And they meet again. And it's basically the story of where each of them have come in the time before they reconnected, and she has got use for him in her political campaign, so it's the relationship between the two. Not bad, quite just entertaining. On the 14th, Saving Zoe. I'm trying to remember this one. Yes, this is a sort of teenage, I wouldn't want to say horror, but along that line of a sort of thriller, where a girl has committed suicide. And this isn't spoilers, by the way, guys. I know if anyone says I give spoilers, I never give away anything more than the synopsis or as in what you get on the back of a DVD or what you'll get in a trailer. I never give away more than that. Basically, this girl's sister is trying to find out what happened to her because she doesn't believe that her sister would have committed suicide. And she finds herself in some very dark and murky places, trying to get to the bottom of what happened to Zoe. Yeah, it was an entertaining enough little movie. I'd recommend that one. Body at Brighton Rock. I liked this and I hated it at the same time. This is a story about a young girl who's like a wilderness, I want to say wilderness explorer, but I'm thinking of Up. It's not like that. It's this big massive park in America. I wish I was more informed, guys, but I've a tiny bit of time to squeeze these into, and I can't get in to see the synopsis. I'm just going from what I remember. She basically is very green behind the gills, wet behind the ears, green in the gills, whatever it's called. She's very naive, not very good at her job. She swaps with another member of her team to take a more difficult trail that she has to walk. They all work for this massive big park as guides to the area. She goes on this trail, she gets lost, she's not going to be able to get back before the sun goes down, and as the title says, she actually finds a body. When she radios back to her headquarters, they tell her she must stay with that body until the emergency services can get there to retrieve it, and of course it's too late, they can't come out that night, so she must stay overnight in the woods. And that's the story, and sort of her mind playing tricks on her. And I love the concept, I like the story, but some of the acting in this and some of the special effects are just mind-numbingly awful. But if you can bear that, the storyline in this I quite enjoyed. It's one I would watch if you've got a free hour and a half, but I wouldn't go out of your way to check it out. On the 16th, Assimilate. That shouldn't even be on there. I think I watched 20 minutes to half an hour of this and turned off because I was losing the will to live. The acting was so poor. I can't tell you very much about it, apart from it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. People are being possessed by something, but it's the acting is, I couldn't bear it. I had to switch it off. On the 18th, excuse me, The Act. Right, I actually watched that over several nights. I started to watch it on the 18th, or possibly I finished watching it on the 18th. This is the one that I alluded to last month when I was talking about Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her mother Dee Dee, who suffered from Munchausen by proxy. And when I get to my little true crime series, I will be covering this. I haven't forgot, I do intend to do this, it's just life at the minute is quite busy. This is the dramatisation of the true story, and the reason I love this story is so interesting. But Patricia Arquette plays the mother, Dee Dee. I love Patricia Arquette, I always have done. Medium, I had to look at my DVDs there, is one of my favourite TV shows. I love it. And anything the woman's in, I mean, True Romance is just, mwah, I love that movie. So she's in this playing a very different kind of role. She's playing the older, overweight mother of Gypsy Rose, and the girl that gets the role of Gypsy Rose in this, I cannot tell you how she just becomes Gypsy Rose. The voice, everything about her is just spot on. If you watch this miniseries, The Act, you will have everything that happened in this story spelled out for you, and the acting is just impeccable. I've actually given that 5 out of 5 stars, which it thoroughly enjoys, thoroughly deserves. So check that out, guys. I thoroughly recommend that. That's my pick of the month, actually. I actually reviewed this. Jesus Christ. Right, I'll tell you what I wrote. Patricia Arquette does it again and cements in my mind why I loved her so much as an actress. Young Joey Keane, that's the actress's name, undertook a complete transformation and became Gypsy Rose. From her look to the very distinct voice, the mannerisms, expressions, and even walk, I was astounded. If you know the true story, check this out, as it's as close to fact as you will get other than watching the documentary Mummy, Dead and Dearest. If you don't know the story, prepare to be blown away. Thoroughly recommended. And yeah, I stand by that. On the same night, I watched a movie called Breakthrough. I was a bit, what way can I put this? I was a bit reticent about watching this, but I did because it had very glowing reviews. Now, I'm not coming on here to talk about religion or my views or my beliefs or any of those things, but I don't like religion being shoved down my throat. That's the only way I'll put it. My beliefs are my beliefs, whatever they may be, and I keep those to myself. But I don't like people preaching at me or singing at me or any of those things. I don't like religious rhetoric, and you know what I mean. People calling around my doors and all this sort of stuff. This movie has got religious undertones. I watched it because it's a true story and I was interested. This story covers a family with a young lad in his teens who falls through ice and drowns. He is actually pulled out and he is in a coma for a long time. As I say, this is a true story, and if you read the synopsis, if you read the back of a DVD cover, you will know that this movie is about his survival. Against all odds, he pulls through. It's not a spoiler, it's basically, this is what you're watching. It's put across as a miracle because the lad was like declared dead. There was no hope for him. He'd been dead for a long period of time. And his mum said a prayer and he came back to life. So it's being cited as a miracle. You could say that stranger things have happened in medicine, whatever your viewpoint may be on that. It was an entertaining enough movie. It was really well acted. The lady that plays the mother in it, she was in, what's that miniseries called One of Us, All of Us, Both of Us. Flip. She's in it, and I love her. She's brilliant in this. This is going to give me an error. Can't get her name because I'm getting an error because my phone's. So yeah, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it unless, as I say, like me, you like to watch a true story. But yeah, 2.5. It probably doesn't deserve to be that low with the level of acting in it. Some of the religious rhetoric I could have done without. Trash Fire. This is right. Trash Fire is on Netflix at the moment. That is a story about a couple who are going through counselling. Everything that can go wrong in the relationship has gone wrong. It's sort of on its last legs, but they want to try and work through it. They've been going to counselling, and she says, I want to meet your family. He pulled away from his family at a very young age for reasons he has never gone into, and he has said that they are just evil people, that they just want nothing to do with them. But for her, she is not going to proceed with the relationship unless she meets his family. So this is about them going to meet the family and what happens when they do, which is most odd. 22nd, right, the rest of this month is going to be probably littered with a lot of Louie Theroux. I started watching Louie Theroux documentaries. I'll just run through some of them. Under the Knife is about plastic surgery. Would you believe, I don't know if you've ever seen Louie Theroux, he's very tall and slim. They actually gave him liposuction, and he has it on this show. Because, oh yeah, you could lose some here, you could lose some there, and it's like, are you serious? They'd be rubbing their hands together in glee if I walked in there, if they're going to give Louie Theroux bloody lipo. Louie in the Brothel, this one was about a brothel in America. It was really entertaining. The girls were just fantastic. I personally think prostitution should be legalised. That's my viewpoint on that. We should have brothels. We should have things where ladies can be safe. They don't have to have pimps. They don't have to be walking on the streets. I don't understand the big issue, but that's just my viewpoint. And this is somewhere in America where it is legal. It's a brothel that people can go, and when you hear the amount of money these guys pay, it's like, what? It's scandalous. The most hated family in America. There are actually 3 of those, and it's about the family that founded the Westboro Baptist Church, who are just repugnant wastes of oxygen as far as I'm concerned. But strangely, each time Louie Theroux goes back to visit them, like I think there's 10 years between the first and the second visit, and then maybe 4 from the third. And the younger members, they keep losing them. They keep leaving when they get to an age where they realise they're being brainwashed. These people, if you don't know who the Westboro Baptist Church are, they stand at funerals of people that have been sent home from the army, men that have died, or women. And because the army allows people that are gay to be within, it used to be that you couldn't join the army. Iggy Pop very famously got out of national service by walking in to the conscription office nude and saying that he was gay. And at that time you couldn't be in the forces if you were gay. So when the forces decided to stop that and be serious, and they let people that are gay in there, Westboro Baptist Church picket the funerals of these dead soldiers, holding up signs like God hates fags, etc, etc. It's just repugnant, and they've got children that are 3 and 4 holding these signs up, and some of them are worse than that. Some of them are very graphic, and it's terrible. It is terrible, but it's an interesting documentary, but it will make your blood boil. There's 3 of them. America's Medicated Kids, that follows people that are sticking their kids on drugs for no reason other than a quiet life. They don't want to try and work through things the difficult way. No, we'll give them Ritalin instead. It's quite sad, really. Talking to Anorexia, that one was quite sad. It's a disease that's, just these girls cannot accept that they don't look fat, they don't even look normal. These girls look seriously ill. So again, just about anorexia. By Reason of Insanity follows Louie around basically a prison for insane people, but they're not allowed to leave. It's after they've served their sentences and they're still held within these walls because they're seen to be not mentally reformed. A Place for Paedophiles. that is an actual area which has like a centre which has paedophiles where they're not allowed to be released into society. And it's quite a difficult watch. Some of these guys don't really see the wrong in what they've done. Now, my husband came up with a cure for paedophilia, which I'm completely in agreement. Well, a shot between the eyeballs would maybe cure it, but why don't they chemically castrate paedophiles? Convicted paedophiles. If you can do something to someone that is going to stop them having those urges and carrying out those crimes, why would you not do that? So personally, I would chemically castrate convicted paedophiles. So there you go. You're getting to see how harsh I am here. The Intruder. That is a story with Dennis Quaid, who is selling his home of many, many years. He sells it to a young couple, but he can't quite say goodbye to the home, and he keeps showing up when he shouldn't, and the wife's very nice and very, accommodating of him. The husband is very suspicious of him, and things take a very dark turn when the husband just has enough and says, right, stop coming on our land, stop coming in our house, and they get a bit of a stalker on their hands. So that's The Intruder. The Hustle, 28th. This was a shock for me. I started watching this. It was one of these, just let's stick him along. Oh, Jesus, I apologise, this is too long. It has Anne Hathaway and blonde hair, chubby, a bit like myself. I'm not blonde hair though. Can't remember her name. Anyway, they play two female hustlers, who one is like a low scale hustler that hustles guys out of a couple of $100s. Anne Hathaway plays a very high end, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. As I'm watching it, and I'm watching a scene on a train, where Anne Hathaway is sat in a carriage and the other character, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, wanders in. I'm thinking, this is a bit like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which is one of my favourite films. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with Michael Caine and, not Michael Caine, Steve Martin and, I've forgotten it. Is it Michael Caine? No. Michael Caine, is it? Anyway, I think it's Michael Caine. Very famous story of the two swindlers. This is a remake with two women. It's exactly the same. The famous Ruprecht scene, which to me is one of the funniest scenes in any movie I have ever seen. Ruprecht, Monkey Boy. It's, oh God, it's delightful. If you haven't ever seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, look up Ruprecht, Monkey Boy, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels on YouTube and just delight yourself with it. There is an alternative version of this, which is just cringe-worthy because you know where it's taken from, you know what the original was and how funny it was, and you're watching this thinking, oh my God, this is awful. So yeah, the acting was good, but it's nowhere near, it's not even a patch on the original, and you know how it's going to end if you've seen the original. Two more. Ugly Dolls, watched it with my son, it was pretty meh. There was singing in it, which was really annoying singing, I have to agree with my husband in that one. I think then Dead in a Week or Your Money Back is the last one. Dead in a Week or Your Money Back popped up on Netflix, and anything that I see that's new I generally give a try to. That one I was really pleasantly surprised by. It covers a young guy that he's a writer, he's suicidal, but he always fails. He has attempted suicide so many times, and every time he does, something goes wrong. So he decides, what if I pay someone to kill me and I don't know when they're going to do it? Can we do it that way? He meets up with a guy who's very close to retirement, who is a hitman, who agrees to kill him, and there's a brochure and stuff, and you can find out what way you can die for what amount of money and stuff. It's got very dark humour, and it appealed very much to my sense of humour. It made me laugh quite a bit. If you're quite sensitive and don't like quite dark humour, you'll probably not enjoy it. It is also British. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's the character play in it's fantastic, the acting in it's fantastic, and it basically follows everything that happens in this young man's life and this hitman's attempts to dispatch of him, and I really enjoyed it. My phone just switched, my camera just switched off and on again. Well, it switched off and then it was about to switch on and it didn't, and I'm really hoping that I have recorded that half hour I just sat and talked. going to be quite distressed if I didn't. So guys, that is it for the month of August. I've got my September ones there, which will be with you in a couple of weeks, no doubt. Nothing much strange here that I can think to tell you. I've been quite busy with Isaac's school, a lot of issues going on with bullies at the moment we're trying to resolve, and a lot of different after schools things that he's doing, so I have been really busy. I haven't been on YouTube barely at all, so apologies. I haven't even been keeping up messenger conversations with my pals, which is bad, but the break has done me the world of good, and I will continue to probably mostly be on breaks, which is awesome. What else can I tell you? I did do a review. I will just end this by saying I have seen It Chapter 2. I started the review, I recorded my drive into town to go to see it. I am going to the cinema for the first time in ages without going to see a kiddies film with Isaac. I am going, get this guys, with friends, yes, I have some, to see It Chapter 2. I watched it, I loved it. Initially, I haven't read the book. Initially, I wasn't very happy with the ending. I'm not going to give anything away here, folks, so don't worry. I didn't like how easy certain things were at the ending, but having spoken to a friend about it and having her sort of like input, having her explanation, it makes a bit more sense to me. So I'm a bit happier with that side of things than I was. But I will say, I have heard that a lot of people complain about the acting and the relationships between the characters. And the relationships between the characters was my favourite part of the movie. Richie, I think his name was Richie, the character who's a comedian. I loved that character. And a lot of people have poked fun at him for his acting. But I thought his acting was spot on. That he found it difficult to look scared. I didn't pick that up, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed his relationship with one of his friends in particular, which I won't go into. I know Movie Massacre very much enjoyed that aspect of things also. So yeah, thumbs up for me for It Chapter 2. As a matter of fact, I preferred it to It Chapter 1. And the freaky imagery in it was just delightful. It was amazing. I loved it. I was going to do a review on the way home, but I put on my camera in the car to do it. Oh, apologies. That is my friend Kelly, hopefully sending me pictures of her beautiful little girl Alice to look at. I shall have a look at that soon. So yeah, I put on my camera in the car. It was too dark. I says, balls to that. I was trying to concentrate on driving and I didn't switch back off the camera, and I ended up on my phone with me singing all the way home, which was really, really distressing because it's bad. It's bad, folks. It's this bad. In the darkest night, rising like a sky, in a burning heart, you must take and it gets worse. I won't do it to you. So yeah, thanks for watching, folks. If you have, leave me comments below as to anything what you thought of any of the movies I discussed, or if you have any recommendations for me. I have a recommendation for you, folks. I've only watched 3 episodes of this and I'm loving it. On Netflix, it's called Marianne. It's a French horror series and it's fantastic. It's really creepy and really freaky, with no need for particular special effects. It's just so well done. It's so dark and dreary and I'm loving it. So check out Marianne on Netflix. As I say, three episodes in, love it. So yeah, that is it for today, folks. Thank you for watching and I shall catch up with you guys soon. Mwah!